Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring the single most challenging variable in cybersecurity. And interestingly, it's not an algorithm. It's not some high-tech firewall.
Yeah.
No, it's the person sitting in the chair.
Mm.
It's for all the billions, maybe trillions spent on advanced technical defenses, we keep seeing the same pattern emerge again and again. Humans seem to be the primary point of failure. Our research really backs this up. The numbers are pretty stark, actually. Somewhere between, 68% and maybe even up to 88% of all security incidents involve some kind of human error. We're talking about clicking a dodgy link, reusing a weak password, or accidentally sending sensitive data to the wrong person.
Yeah, that range, 68 to 88%, it's staggering. It really shows that just throwing more technology at the problem, well, it isn't working, is it? So our mission today isn't just listing problems. We want to move past the finger pointing. We need to stop calling people the weakest link and really start asking why. Why do smart, capable people keep making these predictable, exploitable mistakes? We're exploring how organizations can maybe redesign their approach, turn that perceived human fallibility into a collective strength.
And the stakes here are just monumental. We don't have to look very far for examples, unfortunately. Think about the 2025 Qantas cyber attack. 6 million customer records exposed. And it wasn't because their encryption failed, fundamentally. It was because attackers used social engineering tactics so effectively.
Exactly. That breach was a textbook case, really. Exploiting human trust, bypassing technical control simply by manipulating an employee. A classic, if devastating, example.
Okay, right. Let's try and unpack this a bit more. If we have these incredibly sophisticated AI-driven, multi-layered technical systems designed to fend off state-sponsored attacks,
Yeah.
why do they sometimes crumble? Crumble when faced with something as, well, analog as a carefully written email.
Well, I think it comes down to a fundamental difference. Predictability versus, let's call it, chaos. Technical defenses are precise. You can patch code, you can test systems, update processes. The outcomes are generally predictable. Human behavior, that's a completely different operating system, isn't it? It's shaped by stress, by cognitive biases we all have, the constant need for speed in the workplace, and just wildly varying levels of tech literacy, that inherent unpredictability. It means hackers only need one person, one tired, busy, or stressed individual to make one single slip-up. And a key insight, I think, from the research we looked at is that security systems often fail because they're designed in a sort of vacuum. They don't always align with how people actually need to work day to day.
So if it gets in the way.
Exactly. If a security step is too complex, if it adds, say, 10 minutes to a task you need done now, or it just feels disconnected from your real workflow, well, people naturally look for a shortcut. The mistake isn't usually malicious. It's often just someone trying to be efficient, fighting against a poorly designed security barrier.
That really reframes the blame, doesn't it? If security feels like a burden, people will find ways around it, and hackers must know this. They've surely cataloged these moments of pressure, these friction points.
Oh, absolutely. They know exactly where the system puts pressure on the person.
So, okay, let's look at the specific common mistakes. The ways people inadvertently open the door, the 5 doors, let's call them, that hackers consistently exploit. Let's start with the one everyone thinks they know, but it's getting trickier all the time. Phishing attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not just the old Nigerian prince scam anymore. We're talking about highly tailored, very contextual spear phishing messages. They look like they came from your CEO, maybe a colleague in accounting, a trusted supplier.
Right. And this is where these vulnerabilities start to connect, you see. A really sophisticated phishing email is only the first step. Its success often depends on exploiting the next vulnerability, password weakness. So you click that convincing link, the fake login page pops up, asks for your password. And if you use a common password, or worse, one you've reused across multiple sites, bam, that single click can trigger a massive cascading failure.
Right, because now they don't just have access to one thing.
Exactly. They can potentially access multiple platforms, all thanks to that one repeated, predictable password.
Okay, and what about that critical defense layer that honestly sometimes feels like a chore? MFA neglect, multi-factor authentication. Why, after all the warnings, do people still sometimes skip it just for convenience?
It often boils down to cognitive load, I think. It adds maybe 10, 15 seconds of effort, finding your phone, opening the app. When you're juggling 5 tasks at once, that small delay can feel like an eternity. People perceive MFA as an obstacle to getting things done quickly, not always as the crucial barrier it is to an attacker.
But that small effort is the key.
It is. What's fascinating is that the very effort barrier MFA creates is precisely what foils many automated hacking attempts. If a hacker has to individually phish or call every single target to bypass MFA, the whole attack becomes much less scalable, much less profitable. Okay, another door. Unsecured networks. This isn't just about, say, using the free Wi-Fi at the airport coffee shop, though that's part of it. It's more a lack of awareness, perhaps, that data transmission over many public networks is inherently exposed, especially if you're not running a VPN, a virtual private network.
So that quick check of your email.
That small, unencrypted burst of data, that's exactly what attackers running interception tools are looking for. It's surprisingly easy to grab information that way.
And the fifth door, one that can create really catastrophic organizational risk. Shadow IT. This sounds like a big one for companies trying to stay compliant.
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely. Shadow IT basically means employees deploying unauthorized apps, devices, maybe cloud services that completely bypass the formal IT department's monitoring and controls.
So not just using a personal phone for work email.
It can be much more than that. It might be a whole team using a free third-party project management tool because it's convenient, but that tool might store sensitive company data on servers outside the country, violating data residency regulations, that unmonitored gap. That's often where really sensitive data ends up living, completely unprotected, a major blind spot. And these vulnerabilities, these 5 doors, they're systematically exploited through what we call social engineering. This is really the high art of hacking, in a way. It's less about code, more about psychology, pure manipulation.
Manipulating people. How exactly?
The hacker is essentially playing on basic human traits. Your desire to be helpful, your tendency to obey authority figures, your reaction to urgency. They leverage these to get you to comply with their request, whatever it might be.
Right. Can you maybe break down the specific manipulation techniques? The research highlighted a few key ones, didn't it?
Yeah, we can group them into roughly 4 main methods. First up is pretexting. This is where the attacker fabricates an entire believable scenario, a pretext. They might pretend to be, say, an HR representative calling to verify your bank details for a supposed bonus.
Oh.
Or maybe an external auditor demanding urgent system access. The goal is simply to extract specific information under false pretenses. Second, there's baiting. This is about offering something tempting to lure the victim into a trap. Could be physical, like leaving a USB drive labeled confidential employee salaries Q4 in the parking lot. Someone picks it up, plugs it in.
And it installs malware.
Precisely. Or it could be an email promising a free download of some popular software, but the download link actually installs spyware or ransomware.
Okay, and the third one often involves physical access. Is that right?
Yes, that's tailgating, sometimes called piggybacking. It's really simple. Just following authorized personnel into restricted areas. You rely on their politeness or assumption that you belong there. Maybe you're carrying boxes, looking busy, fumbling for a badge. People often hold the door.
Simple, but effective.
Very. And finally, the modern phishing email. As we touched on, it's incredibly sophisticated now. We're seeing deepfake voice technology used in follow-up calls, highly personalized details scraped from LinkedIn or social media. It makes it incredibly difficult for the average person to spot the fake.
There was that example of the scattered spider group. It was chilling. It showed just how advanced this can get. They weren't brute-forcing passwords, were they? They went straight for the people.
Exactly. They targeted high-pressure, high-volume IT help desks. They impersonated legitimate employees needing help, used really convincing pretexting, maybe sounding stressed, needing urgent access, to persuade the IT staff member on the other end to actually bypass multi-factor authentication for them.
Wow. So they attacked the person under pressure, not the secure system itself.
Precisely. They exploited the human operating system, not the technical one. Which, it raises a necessary, maybe difficult question. If the attacks are getting that sophisticated, how do you defend someone who, let's be honest, might still be using password 123? Isn't there still an element of personal responsibility here, even if the organizational systems aren't perfect?
That's the real tension, isn't it? If we lean into this idea that technology is failing humans because policies are disconnected from reality, how do we square that with, well, individual carelessness sometimes?
It's definitely a balance, but the research suggests that the primary responsibility starts with the system design and the culture. When organizations impose security policies that are overly complex, really inconvenient, or just feel pointless, they're almost incentivizing people to find workarounds. They're creating the conditions for rule breaking. The goal shouldn't be to eliminate human error entirely. That's impossible. People make mistakes. It should be about creating resilient systems and, crucially, a resilient culture that reduces both the frequency and the impact of those errors.
So stop punishing the victim.
And start learning from the attack vector. Understand why the mistake happened in that context.
Okay, so the solution isn't just piling on more rules. It's about building what the sources referred to as a human-centered cybersecurity culture. And critically, this culture can't be built on fear or punishment. That just drives mistakes underground, right? People hide them.
Exactly right. Fee leads to silence, and silence in security is deadly. This kind of positive culture, it seems to rest on three main pillars. The first has to be leadership commitment. Real, visible, executive prioritization. If the CEO isn't talking about security, if the board isn't asking questions and allocating budget, then nobody else down the line is going to take it truly seriously.
It has to be seen as core to the business.
Yes, it signals that security is critical to the business strategy, not just some annoying mandate from the IT department.
Okay, pillar 2 involves a shift in how we educate people. Behavioral training. Moving beyond that annual tick-the-box training that everyone clicks through as fast as possible.
Yeah, that compliance-based training often doesn't stick. The shift is towards adopting principles from behavioral science. Training needs to be ongoing, context-aware, relevant to the person's actual job, and focused on building lasting habits, like muscle memory. So instead of just teaching a checklist, you use maybe gamification, short simulations, relevant real-world examples, things that help the learning actually translate into conscious, better decisions under pressure. And the final pillar, which is absolutely essential for rapid response when things do go wrong, is open communication. This means actively fostering an environment where an employee feels safe reporting something suspicious.
Or even admitting they clicked on a link they shouldn't have.
Yes. Without fearing they're going to be immediately blamed or disciplined.
Makes sense. If you remove that fear of blame, people are much more likely to report mistakes or suspicious activity immediately. And that early reporting, that can be the difference between a minor, contained incident and a massive, headline-grabbing data breach.
Absolutely. Enabling that quick detection and response is far more valuable in the long run than punishing the initial lapse. So bringing this all back to you, the individual listener, what does this mean practically? The ultimate goal here is to transform the user you from a potential vulnerability into the critical first line of defense, the human firewall. And this isn't about becoming a cybersecurity expert overnight. It's about adopting proactive cyber hygiene as a set of daily habits. Let's quickly review 5 practical actions. These represent critical behavioral shifts we saw highlighted. First, and probably most fundamental, verify everything. You really have to cultivate a healthy skepticism towards unexpected requests. Always hover your mouse over links and emails to see the actual destination URL before clicking. And if you're ever in doubt about an email or a message, even if it seems to be from someone you know, don't just reply. Contact them through a separate, verified channel.
Like picking up the phone.
Exactly. Call them on their known office number or start a completely new email chain using the address you've stored for them. Don't trust the contact info in the suspicious message itself.
That verification step takes a conscious effort, but yeah, it seems like the ultimate defense against that pretexting manipulation. Okay, what about passwords and credentials?
Second point, implement strong passwords and use a password manager. This is just non-negotiable these days. You absolutely must use unique, complex passwords for every single online account. That stops those cascading failures we talked about.
But who can remember all those?
Nobody. That's why we strongly advise using a reputable password manager. It does the heavy lifting, generates strong passwords, remembers them securely. It removes the cognitive burden while ensuring your passwords are robust.
Okay, and the key thing for stopping automated attacks?
That brings us to number 3. Enable MFA, Multi-Factor Authentication. Turn it on for every single account that supports it, period. You need to understand that this single action dramatically raises the effort bar for an attacker. It often stops automated credential stuffing attacks completely in their tracks. 4th, secure your connections. Be really mindful of public Wi-Fi. Avoid doing sensitive things, online banking, accessing corporate email, anything involving confidential data over unsecured public networks. If you absolutely must use public Wi-Fi, always use a trusted VPN service. That encrypts your connection, protecting your data from eavesdroppers.
Right, and the final piece, the most important behavior perhaps, in fostering that culture of collective resilience.
Number 5, report immediately. If you see something that looks even slightly off, or if you realize you might have made a mistake, clicked a link, downloaded something odd, report it to your IT or security team without hesitation.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't feel embarrassed. Early reporting is genuinely the highest value action you can take. It allows the security team to investigate and contain potential threats before they escalate. That kind of informed decision-making happening at every level of an organization is what systematically shrinks the overall attack surface.
It really is a powerful shift in thinking, isn't it? Moving the human element from being seen as a liability that needs managing to potentially the most crucial layer of active defense. Cybersecurity becomes a truly shared responsibility, built on informed action and awareness, not just compliance under threat.
Exactly. With the right mindset, the right tools, and a supportive culture focused on continuous awareness, humans absolutely can be and should be the strongest link in the chain. Your daily habits, your moments of pause and verification. They protect not just your organization's assets, but the integrity and security of your own digital life, too.
So it seems the future of cybersecurity doesn't rest solely on developing faster, smarter technology, though that's important too. It really depends on informed, empowered people making conscious security decisions every single day. Your awareness and your actions truly matter in this ongoing challenge. So maybe the final thought for you to consider today is this. What assumption about your own security, maybe a default habit you have, will you challenge and change today?